What is up, gamers? Staxwell is back at it again today with another market watch. It has certainly been a while, and if you could see these tabs on the top of my screen, I have like 30 of them open. You could tell it is going to be a long one, so get comfortable. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just go ahead and jump straight into it here. First card I want to talk about is Erase Face. Long-term fans of the channel know that we've been talking about this card since it was like $2. And if you look at this graph from just a couple months ago, it was, sub $2, and it is currently cheapest copy on the market at $12, and the cheapest rainbow foil is up to about $20. Makes a lot of sense. Erase Face is good into all of the new heroes being able to turn off the lightning and earth synergies, I guess you could say, and turning off Florence and Verdance and Florian being able to turn off their decompose hero, their hero power and their decompose synergies on hits. Kind of a must block against those decks. Yeah, very good card. Erase Face, cheapest copy, again, $12. Rune Chant, the Lightning Rune Chant. This is the Rune Chant that comes with the Star City Games Buy a Box promo. I've been seeing them sell online for like $40-ish, but the cheapest one on TCG Player is $67. I've been seeing them selling like the Purple Discord or eBay or in real life for much cheaper than that. So if you're a seller, look into listing on TCG Player, and if you're a buyer looking to trying to get it on eBay or something like that, I do think it's going to come down a lot from the $67 price tag. Death Touch, the extended art rainbow foil red Death Touch. This was a promo from a calling, I want to say like the Nats calling or something like that from a couple years ago. Yeah, cheapest EA rainbow foil Death Touch on the market is like $48, $49. I think it's a fantastic card. Every assassin, every ranger forever is going to consider playing Death Touch. Uzuri does play Death Touch. Riptide absolutely could play Death Touch. It's combos so well with Codex of Frailty, which is also an insane assassin ranger card, right? Except Codex of Frailty is probably an auto include in every deck. Death Touch being such a good Codex of Frailty target. Codex, Tunic, Death Touch, very good combo. This card's kind of timeless because of that interaction. So to see it as low as this is kind of criminal. I think it's a good pickup. Warmonger's Diplomacy keeps going higher and higher every time I see it. Cheapest copy on the market is $68. Makes a lot of sense. Before it was mostly just a silver bullet against Azalea. It was decent in a lot of other matchups, but Azalea was really the only thing that just straight couldn't play under Warmongers. Now, with Rune Blades coming back into the meta, the scope of Warmonger seems to be broadening, so it makes sense that it's going up quite a bit. Dietic Carapace, cheapest copy on the market, $65. Again, the long-term fans of the channel know we've been talking about this card since it was like $15. So to see it this high, we are eating good on that. It makes a lot of sense. Arcane Barrier 2 and Temper 2, you would probably play it if it had either of those effects, by itself. If it just was an Arcane Barrier 2 chess piece, you would probably side it. If it was just a Temper 2 chess piece, you would probably side it or play it. So yeah, it being both, just insane. This card's always been good. I expect it to settle pretty much at the same price points as Fleshbag, seeing as they're both legendaries from the same set that go in approximately the same amount of heroes. Dietic Carapace goes in a bit more heroes, and Runeblades are a bit more like fan favorite, I guess you could say. So it's possible Dietic Carapace can surpass Fleshbag, but I do think it is a little bit less powerful than Fleshbag, a little bit less of an auto-include. Some of the Runeblades might not necessarily want it all the time, but yeah, I still think it's an insanely powerful piece of equipment. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense it's going up. Dash IO, the Cold Foil Dash IO is only $58. This seems like a very good pickup. With the new Dash IO Armory deck just around the corner, it's reasonable to assume that there's going to be a lot of new Dash IO players. If any of those new players want to bling out their decks, I could see the price of this hero in particular going a bit higher than it is. Adaptive Plating, cheapest rainbow foil on the market is $70. If you look at this graph, it just kind of goes absolutely crazy. It was $23 a couple months ago. And if we look at the cold foil, there's only two left on the market. One's for $100 and one's for $120. So yeah, people are already hype about Dash.io. This isn't like a brand new development that no one's talking about. Everyone knows Dash.io is going to be very good after that Armory deck comes out. And, certain things are reflecting that, like adaptive plating. But there's still plenty of good pickups. We'll get to a couple more in this video. But for now, Fendal's Fighting Spirit. This is the promo Fendal's Fighting Spirit. That was at the Tampa World Premiere. Cheapest copy on the market is $47. And the way that this card just keeps creeping itself into the meta, and for how few listings there are in this $50 price range before it quickly jumps to $60, I think it's worth picking up your playset. But do note it is going to be at a couple more events through to next year. So yeah, don't feel like you have to rush for it. If you're going to go to one of those events, maybe pick up 2 now and then 1 at the event, or maybe wait till you go to the event and pick them all up or something. I just do think that this card is so timeless. It just keeps coming back into the meta. Like I said, in like Verdance, it's a 2-card 9, right? Being able to heal, ping, and deal 7. So yeah, I think it's kind of always going to be good just based on how powerful its effect is. Unless the game straight gets power crept via numbers. The numbers on this card is just too good. So yeah, I think it's worth picking up. Black Tech Whispers, cheapest copy on the market is $20. Insanity. Hey, Magnolia Gaming has a lot of the cheapest listings on a lot of this stuff. So yeah, shout out to them. But yeah, cheapest copy is $20. That's so insanely cheap to me. Cheapest cold foil is only $45. Like, I get New doesn't play this stuff, but Uzuri still does. Arachne still does. Excuse me, I forgot his name for a second. That's how relevant he is. And any assassin that they are printing in the future is probably going to look to Black Tech as their default leg piece. Unless they print different assassin legs, these are going to be the best ones moving forward. I think it's criminally cheap. If you don't have it, you should have it. Same with Flick Knives. Flick Knives being $12.50 shipped is absolutely criminal to me. The cold foil Flick Knives is $40. If you don't have these, even if you're not an assassin player right now, if you're even mildly interested in the class, at least do yourself a favor and pick up the rainbow foils and just sit on them until another assassin comes out, and then really ask yourself, like, do I have any interest in assassin? Because these cards will probably be 2 or 3 times the price they're at now. And then make the decision. Do I want to cash in for 2 or 3x profit, or do I want to be an assassin guy? Either way, pick them up and at least have the ability to ask yourself that question later. Mask of Momentum, cheapest a white border on the market is $30. I think people are maybe forgetting that Ira is just around the corner with all of this Rosetta hype that is hitting the market right now. Ira is probably going to be one of the best decks in the game. And she obviously plays Mask of Momentum. A lot of people look at Ira and think like, oh, I could pitch a blue and Kodachi and then CNC for 7. Yes, that's very good. But I think it's probably better to just like pitch a blue, Kodachi for 1, Kodachi for 2, and then come in with a 1 for 5, like Take the Tempo or something like that. Because then you're not just presenting an on hit with whatever card it is, whether it's Take the Tempo or Sensor or whatever, but you're also threatening that Mask of Momentum trigger, so it's like pulling double duty here. And it always works, right? CNC, they have to have an arsenal. Weakest link, they have to have a no block in their hand. Whereas Mask of Momentum, if you Kodachi Take the Tempo, it is always going to draw you a card. Like there is no variance to that aspect. So I've always liked that play pattern in Ira more. And either way, whether that's her primary thing or she is Kodachiing into a CNC, Mask of Momentum is either way going to be playing the deck, and it's cheaper than it's ever been. If you don't have it, I highly recommend it. Art of War, pour one out for my boy Art of War here. Cheapest copy on the market is only $12. Absolutely tanked. But if you look at the rainbow foil, it is holding somewhat. Cheapest copy on the market is $67. Still a very good card in the Living Legend format, so it's not all hope is completely lost for Art of War. But yeah, it is kind of crazy seeing the regulars at $12. Just absolutely insane. Merciless Battle Axe, the Marvel Merciless Battle Axe, is only $14. There's only a couple listed up here for that price tag, but that seems very cheap to me. Like, this card does seem kind of bad at first glance. It doesn't seem like the strongest thing ever. but neither does Sergeant Aethertide, and that card just shot up a lot. It's at $100. You could easily see a world in, you know, they just need to print like a different kind of hero with a different kind of hero power, or maybe more axe support or something. But I don't think it's unreasonable to imagine a world in which Merciless Battle Axe is a very good card, and for only, you know, $13-14, I think it's worth the investment to have in your binder, just waiting for that day to come. Mask of Momentum, the rainbow foil, is only like $34, so pretty much everything I said about the white one still true for the rainbow, except I think you should probably just get the rainbow instead. It's only a little bit more money, and obviously it's much more collectible. Iris of Reality, the cold foil Iris of Reality, is only $20. Very cheap compared to what it used to be. It used to be like $40, $50, $60 back in the day. And I bring it up now. Since Tome is gone, Tome of Divinity, I think the only way to play Prism now is to play just like a very aggressive Herald package that sideboards into a Iris of Reality Spectra-based game plan. So yeah, I think it's going to increase in popularity a lot. It's the only way I can imagine playing Prism. Yeah, again, cheapest copy on the market, $20. I think it's a good pickup. Intoxicating Shot, cheapest copy on the market, is $14. I don't think it's a good day to be a Riptide player. I think this new set is all pretty gloom and doom for the big green man here, but that's not affecting the price of Intoxicating Shot somehow. Cheapest rainbow foil on the market is $16. Still very expensive. I don't think it's worth picking up. I say wait, maybe let the current Riptide mains figure out that their hero isn't the best in this format. Hope some of them list cheaper copies. I just don't think it's worth picking up at this inflated price tag at the moment. Heist, the Dash.io Armory deck is coming, just like we talked about before. And while this card has gone up a bit, I still think it's very cheap. When Bright Lights first came out, this was like a $30 or $40 card. So to see it at $15, $16, right before confirmed broken Dash.io support is on the horizon, like it's just too cheap for what it should be, what it could be, and probably what it will be. Assuming this card doesn't get reprinted in the Dash.io Armory deck, which they don't typically reprint Majestics like this, but who knows, they did reprint Red in the Ledger. But yeah, if you don't think that they're going to reprint Heist, or if you don't want to risk them not reprinting Heist, I think it's worth picking up. It's only $15. I think it's a good deal. And the rainbow foil is at $20. As always, I always think you should pick up the higher rarity version of the card, because even if it is in the Dash.io Armory deck, it's not going to be rainbow foil, so you'll still have the highest rarity of the card. Mind Warp, cheapest copy on the market that's not moderately played, is $13.50. This card just keeps going up and up, crazier and crazier every time I see it. Again, long-term fans of the channel are eating good on this card. It's kind of crazy how much stuff we were able to get right about Rosetta, and how much stuff we're going to get right about the next expansion that comes out. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead, smash that subscribe button, because you don't want to miss it next time we talk about this stuff. What else is there to say about Mind Warp that we haven't already said 100 times? The card's insane. We already know the card's insane, so it doesn't surprise us at all that it's $13.50 for the cheapest copy on the market. Sergeant Aethertide, we talked about this. The card is the weapon of choice for Verdance. Very good card. It's used in the combo. And to my understanding, it's just used all the time in Verdance. They don't even really play another weapon, and if they do, it's Waning Moon, but primarily on the Sergeant Aethertide. So yeah, even the non-Marvel version, just this regular version, $9, kind of crazy. Eloquent Eulogy, people are absolutely cooking with Vincent. I think Vincent is a pretty interesting hero with all the new Runeblade support that's come out. I do think Eloquent Eulogy is probably like the best card in her deck. Just being a 1-card 5 with split damage and an on-hit is just absolutely what she needed. Very good card. And not only is it good in her, but it is also great in Chain. It's very great in Chain as well. It doesn't take too much for him to be able to make a Rune Chant token and get a lot of value out of that Eloquence token. I think he even makes better use of the Eloquence token than something like Vincent does. Earthlore Bounty, cheapest copy on the market for the extended art. Cold Foil Earthlore Bounty is about $10 shipped. I think it's a very good deal, especially when you consider that we are getting a Guardian Mastery pack, I think is what they called it. What was it, like middle of next year we're getting that? What was it? It was like 250 cards, and 150 of them are going to be new cards. Do you think in 150 new Guardian cards, they're not going to have any Seismic Surge synergy? Like, of course they're going to. Maybe they print an Adult Valda in there or something like that. Either way, Earthlore Bounty being only $10 shipped, I think it's a fantastic pickup. If you don't have it, don't just sit on your hands and wait for the Guardian Mastery pack to come out. Just go ahead, bite the bullet, pay the $10. It'll definitely be worth it one day. Don't wait for it to go to the moon like Grasp of the Arknight has. Cheapest Grasp of the Arknight is $150 for the cheapest Rainbow Foil Grasp right now. Actually insane. Makes sense. A lot of people are cooking with the new rune blades, but yeah, this price is so crazy. Look, a couple months ago it was like $50, $59, $60 just a couple months ago. We did talk about this card when it was at the $60 price tag. Yeah, absolutely crazy to see that. The white border Grasp of the Arknight is only $90. Maybe people have forgot that this card existed, or maybe they just hate white border. Either way, their loss is your gain. If you still need a Grasp, there are some relatively cheap ones. I wouldn't even call it cheap compared to what they were a couple months ago. But yeah, cheap compared to the Rainbow Foil is the white border. So if you need them, you need them. You want to save a couple bucks, that's a good alternative. Heart of Fendal, cheapest copy on the market, is $75. I'm sure you guys will throw a fit in my comment section. It's Fendal, it's Fendal. I don't really care how it's pronounced. The card is actually broken though. Being a 1 card 5 in Verdance, it's actually insane. There's no reason not to be playing Heart of Fendal. Yeah, and the price tag totally reflects that. A lot of people are cooking with it. So yeah, it makes sense it's going up. Storm Strider's cheapest copy on the market is $130, a pretty big jump. I think last time we looked at this card or talked about it, it was right around 100. But yeah, if you look at the last couple months of sales data, it's floated pretty consistently around that $75 price tag. But yeah, with that new Rosetta hype, jumping up to 130 there. Channel Mount Heroic, the cold foil, is $72. I think this card is kind of grossly overpriced. I don't think any hero wants to play Channel Mount Heroic in the current CC metagame. And I don't even think Briar wants to play it in LL. Like if you're playing an LL Briar, it would probably be something like a Cheerios, Ball Lightning focus kind of Briar. But I can't lie to you and say I've been cooking a lot with Briar in the LL formats. But yeah, either way, there's just not a lot of application for this card. I just don't think it should be the same price as similarly priced and similarly hard to obtain cards, right? If you think of like something like a Cold Foil Genesis is like at least confirmed good in LL and played in CC, whereas this card is neither of those. And Cold Foil Genesis, you got it the same way through a skirmish, except there was only 2 Genesises available at each skirmish, whereas there was 4 Channel Mount Heroics available at every skirmish. So yeah, the card definitely overpriced. I would absolutely wait on this if you're interested in it. I'm sure it will go down quite a bit over time. Surgeon Aethertide, the Marvel, again, we talked about as Verdance's weapon of choice. Cheapest cold foil on the market is $94. A lot of the other Dynasty Majestics are just very cheap right now. If we quickly go over and take a glance, like Celestial Kimono, Habani Blaster, Rock, Blazing Yoroi, Seasoned Savior. These are like kind of, this whole set is kind of like a set full of mechanics that are like very underexplored that they just kind of wanted to throw out and get a feeler for, that all kind of foreshadowed the future, right? Like Celestial Kimono kind of foreshadowed Ward and foreshadowed Enigma as a whole. Blazing Yoroi, the Crouching Tiger synergies, kind of foreshadowed Zen. There was a lot of foreshadowing in this set. So yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to assume that they will make a Battle Axe hero one day, or a Brute that cares about not having cards in their hand for Rock, or a Guardian that is going to add +1 defense counters to all their equipment. Like, I'm sure these mechanics will be explored out further by the development team. And when they are, you want to have these Marvel pieces of equipment for that day. I think a lot of them are very cheap, and Surgeon Aethertide is just the latest one to spike, so I wouldn't recommend picking this one up right now per se, but the other ones I think are well worth it. Riptide, Cold Foil Riptide. I know I just talked a lot of trash on Riptide, but $35 for the adult Cold Foil is kind of crazy. It is just this one seller selling them for that price tag, and he's not verified. So yeah, I guess proceed with caution on that. But I seen a deal, and I figure I would bring it to everyone's attention here. Swarming Gloomveil, I think, is kind of overpriced. I actually don't like this card right now. It's not something you would even play in Aurora because it doesn't really make sense. Swarming Gloomveil kind of naturally has go again all the time. It doesn't turn on Aurora's hero power. It doesn't benefit from Aurora's hero power in any way. The whole point of Aurora is to give cards go again that shouldn't have go again, which would make her good. That's like why you're playing Aurora. And Swarming Gloomveil just doesn't fit into that. So you'd have to play a lightning card, play Swarming Gloomveil, pay 2 for Aurora, and then still play a different card. Like, it just, like, you would need a 5-card hand for Swarming Gloomveil to make any amount of sense. And she also doesn't make a ton of auras, so most of the time Swarming Gloomveil, even in a 5-card hand, would just be a 1 for 3 with go again, not even pumped up to 4. And then in Florence? No. Florian. Why do I keep mixing their names together? In Florian, it doesn't seem that great either. He seems to want to be a lot slower, a lot more blocky, a lot more earth in his deck, right? If you're just using it for the block 3, you'd rather have a block 3 earth, like a blue Autumn's Touch or whatever. So it doesn't seem particularly good in either of the new Rune Blades. So I really wouldn't be rushing out to pick this up if I didn't have it, and if I did have it, especially if I had extras, I'd kind of be looking to get rid of them at this price tag. I'm not sure everyone knows that this card isn't that great right now. Poison the Well, cheapest copy on the market is $10. I do think that this card isn't what we were kind of hoping it would be when Verdance was first announced. We knew she would have a lot of life gain synergies. The unfortunate side is most of her life gain is for 3 or less. Which of course makes Poison the Well a 1-card 6, right? Because you're not only stopping their card from getting the 3 points of value, but you're also dealing 3 points of damage to them. So at the cost of your 1 card, you negate their card and deal 3 points of damage to them if you're able to hit a sigil or something, which is fine. I was hoping she'd have some bigger healing spells, but being able to have a 1-card 6 is still very good. And if she is comboing you, she's not comboing every deck. But if she is, she's like stacking up all the healing potions and trying to amp a lot on a card. Amp a lot on Surgent Aethertide to amp on a different card. So it is kind of saving you more value than you would think. Like if you just did this to 1 healing potion, right? You're getting rid of their healing potion, dealing 2 damage to them, stopping 2 damage on the Surgent Aethertide, and then stopping 2 more damage on whatever card comes after that. So what is that, like a 1-card 8 at this point or something like that? And that's if you're hitting the healing potion. You could be hitting the Harvest Season for 3 or something like that. And then the 1-card 8 turns into a 1-card 12. Yeah, very good card. But it is not like the Silver Bullet, the you can't play Flesh and Blood card that we were kind of hoping it would be. Still a very good card. I think it is also deck dependent. If you are a slower deck that Verdance actually wants to combo down, is a much better card. This card could also become very insane if the Count Your Blessings decks become very popular. You start pitching these Poison the Wells and then try to get to your pitch stack as quick as you can, and by that time their Count Your Blessings are all the way turned on, and your Poison the Wells will just go crazy. I don't know how popular Count the Blessings decks will be, but at least for right now they're very popular in Talishar. Levels of Enlightenment, cheapest copy on the market is only $17. I think that's so criminally cheap. If you're a new player getting into the game right now, and I mean new like as in like you're a brand new player to the game, NEW player, I highly recommend just like picking up apart the Misveil hero. Maybe even new, maybe Zen, maybe Enigma. But this whole set, because of the hype of Rosetta, is just so cheap, all these Part the Misveil heroes. I think it's worth not to buy into the hype of the new set, and just save some money and go back and buy one of these Part the Misveil heroes. This card used to be like $30, $40, so to see it so cheap is a little bit crazy. Weakest Link just keeps going up higher and higher. Every time I see it, still a very, very good card. Just because we're out of the Misveil meta doesn't mean anything for Weakest Link. Weakest Link is still very, very good into the lightning heroes as well. They all are playing like Blink, Lightning Press, Sigils. So many no block cards. It's also very good against Enigma, who is posed to be one of the better heroes this format. Also very good against KO. Again, KO is posed to be one of the better heroes this format. Weakest Link still holds a lot of weight. Still a very, very good card. Runic Reclamation, again, longtime fans of the channel know how much we love Runic Reclamation around here and how much we love our Everfest Majestics. Cheapest copy on the market is about $5 shipped. I think this card is just as insane as it was when we first talked about it. Being able to hit a Channel Lightning Valley or the Millennium Tree or something like that is just totally insane. But even if you're not doing that, being able to just like killing a Runechant token, right? You're able to hit for 7, kill their Runechant, and create a Runechant. Now it's a 2-card 9. Or if your Florian ability is turned on, then it's a 2-card 10. Runic Reclamation, very, very good card. It's actually the only Runeblade card I am playing in my current Aurora deck. Like the only Runeblade attack card I'm playing. Funny enough. It's the only one that was good enough to make the cut. Nebula Blade, cheapest copy on the market is $60. It makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are cooking with Viserai, and pretty much every Viserai deck now is a Nebula Blade deck, just the way the new cards fit into the curve. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so this card's gone kind of crazy. I would wait for it to cool off a bit. It was about $25-ish for the longest time. So yeah, this price seems to be very temporary for me. I would wait and let it cool off, but yeah, $60 for the cheapest copy, kind of crazy. Tectonic Plating, cheapest white border Tectonic Plating on the market is only $16, and I'll say all the same stuff I said about Tectonic Plating as I said about, what was it, Earthlore Bounty. So yeah, we know that there's a new Guardian pack coming out. Do you think that the new Guardians aren't going to want Tectonic Plating? You know what I mean? I'm sure some of them will at some point, and even if there was no new synergy, of course, Guardian will come back into the meta at some point. Bravo will get a new broken spec, as he always does, or Victor will make his way back into the meta. Something will happen that will send Tectonic Plating up in a good way. $16 is just too cheap for this legendary, I think. Jack-O-Lantern, the red Jack-O-Lantern. This was a October buy-a-box seasonal promo, and it's going up a lot because Redline Vincent is a real deck that actually plays Jack-O-Lantern. It's actually kind of an insane card somehow. Yeah, cheapest copy on the market is $10. The only way to get this card, by the way, is the promo. So if this becomes a popular deck, if this becomes a powerful deck, this card could go very, very crazy because of such limited supply, and you need 3 of it. And it only comes in extended art. This is the only way to get this card. You can't play Jack-O-Lantern unless you had a buy a box promo October. Jack-O-Lantern. Yeah, kind of crazy. I could see the price going way higher than this if it's actually a good deck. If not, then yeah, it's going to go back down to $3. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. Unsheathed. This is the new... Basically, it's a Kasai card. It's a new warrior card, but it's a Kasai card from Rosetta, the Majestic. It's basically a red Blade Runner for 0, kinda, except it's a front pump. It's very, very good. And it also costs 0, which is cool because you could squeeze the gloves activation in. So yeah, red Blade Runner is probably your best card in Kasai. So yeah, being able to play 6 copies of your best card is insane. It's actually better than your best card, again, because you could squeeze the gloves in. And I bring this one up last because I wanted to use it as a good segue to talk about, I guess it's a tinfoil hat conspiracy that I have that we are going back to Volcor very, very soon. If not the next set, I would bet the set right after that. Like, I think it's almost guaranteed we're going to Volcor in the immediate future, like within the next year, almost for certain, because of there's been plenty of like hints dropped to us, and one of them was in the Unsheathed the lore article that dropped with the card, which first off, it's like, okay, why are we dropping a lore article with a card that's already kind of out of the ordinary, right? That's out of the norm. And in the Unsheathed the lore article, Kasai was traveling to Volcor. We also keep getting Dust printed in every expansion. Fi hasn't had support in years. There's just so many reasons why I would think that we are imminently going back to Volcor. I also, it's not a secret that there's been a lot of hints at Necromancer, like with the new Call to the Grave card, that it's pretty reasonable to assume we're also getting a Necromancer soon. And I think those two things could tie in together very closely. LSS made a huge deal about the Emperor being dead. It was like the thing everyone's going to remember about Dynasty forever, whether it be the extended art Blacked Out Regicide. You know, that's the whole character Arachne. That's like his lore, is that he killed the Emperor. It was like the whole thing. So I assume we're going back to Volcor, and the Necromancer is going to revive the Emperor, and Fi is finally going to get support, and James White has already confirmed that we're going to get another hero that could summon dragons, another Dromai-like hero. And I mean, it makes sense because we keep getting dust, right? What is all this dust for? Surely it's not for nothing. We are going to get another Dromai. Kasai is going to Volcor. The Emperor is going to be reborn. I think there's a lot of good pickups. If we go back to Volcor. A lot of good market implications of us going back to Volcor. I actually did a video covering this exact topic. I did a whole market watch, like if we go back to Volcor, here's X, Y, and Z of what I think will happen. I'll go ahead and put it on screen now. If you're going to buy Unsheathed or anything else we talked about in this market watch, please do so using the TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. It costs you absolutely nothing, and a small portion of that goes to help the channel. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Later, gamers.